What's up, everybody? Welcome to another live episode of Strong Style. I am the Outlaw John Rocha, one of your hosts here, joined as always by my brother down there in Orlando with the greatest set of wrestling figures you're ever going to see. Aaron Turner, how are you?
Feeling good, brother. Feeling good. I just got done doing a double shot of Dark Side of the Ring before we started here, so I'm pretty excited to talk about that, honestly.
Yeah, we're definitely going to talk about Dark Side of the Ring. Both the episodes we were off last week. We're going to talk about the Onita's FMW promotion and Johnny K9. What an interesting story. Really didn't know much about Johnny K9, but a lot to explore there, but certainly a lot to explore in Onita's FMW episode for sure. We're going to talk about AJ Lee and Tessa Blanchard coming back to pro wrestling under the new revamped Women of Wrestling promotion. We're also going to talk about AEW, the new championship, Dynamite, and throwing in little Sasha Banks, Becky Lynch falling to the hands of a table and Bianca BelAir a little bit later on in the show. So a lot to cover, a lot to get into. And as always, Streamlabs, SuperChats, those are welcome here as we go through the show. You know, support what we're doing here. You love the show coming to you every Saturday live at noon. So please send your support in, send your questions. Let's have a fun Saturday. Let's have a healthy Saturday. Let's have a wealthy Saturday. Send stuff in to support us here on the show. Aaron, where do you want to start, my man? Or do you have some things you want to get off your chest at all? Like anything at all?
No.
Okay.
Right, no, I don't think so. Oh yeah. Actually, I'm sorry. Thank you for asking.
Yeah.
The WWE draft. Like I didn't put in the note rundown, and I'm going to tell you why. Because WWE doesn't understand what a fucking draft is and how it works. Apparently, because it's like the first draft pick is Roman Reigns. It's like, yeah, he's the champion. Of course he's going to stay on SmackDown. What the fuck? Why would he be drafted somewhere? That's fucking dumb. Like, I hate that part of it. And then, like, Charlotte Flair gets drafted to SmackDown, but Becky's on SmackDown, but Charlotte's the Raw champion, then Becky's the SmackDown champion, then Becky gets drafted to Raw, and it's like, this is fucking dumb. Like, stop overcomplicating the draft. It's very simple.
Yeah.
You draft here, you draft there. That's it. The champion should be exempt. Makes it a lot easier. It's stupid. Yeah. And they didn't bring up LA Knight, which is like, what's LA Knight doing in NXT then? Because this is stupid. Yeah, I don't understand what's going on here. So WWE continues to shoot themselves in the foot, and is their own worst enemy. But they did bring up Hit Row, which is great because we love the Hit Row. But a lot of, and they brought up Ridge Holland from NXT and a couple other people, and it's just like, God, dude, like you guys just can't get out of your own way.
It's weird. It's interesting when you look at it now, like Hit Row coming in. I mean, I can't remember a time where there were two black factions or two factions with black prominent members at the center of them in a long time, or maybe ever. You still have the New Day to a degree, and whether they're split up or not, you still have them there. And now you're bringing in Hit Row to be kind of another faction led predominantly by black wrestlers in there. So to me, this is a very interesting decision by them to do this. I think it's a progressive decision. It's a smart decision to a degree. But I wonder, Aaron, because a little piece of me is always skeptical, suspicious, and especially when we've seen what they've done when they brought people up from NXT. Don't you think it's a bit too soon to bring up Hit Row, or do you think this is the right time? Do you think they should have had a little more time to establish themselves even more at NXT, become more of a dominant force in NXT, and then come up? Or do you think this is the right time because maybe this is the crest of the wave and we'll ride it for as long as we can, but then eventually it's going to crash and they're going to split them up and it's going to be crazy? What do you think?
Well, I think that if Hit Row would have stayed in NXT for much longer, the way that it's been revamped, if it would have stayed the NXT that we all knew and loved, would have been fine. I think it would have been fine to keep Hit Row there. But they've, in this new NXT, the Rainbow NXT, they've evolved past it now. And I think all the personalities in there are great. I think that Swerve Scott, of course, is the blue chipper of the group. Yeah. And you got Ashante, and you got Top Dollar, and you got B-Fab. B-Fab obviously needs some work in the ring, as does Top Dollar, but Ashante the Adonis and Swerve Scott are quite good. So Mike's skills, they got it. Like, their promos are fun. They look like a menacing group. Like, if Swerve and Adonis don't do it for you, then they got Top Dollar there to beat your ass. Right. And then for the women's side, they've got B-Fab, who's tall and like ripped, and seems like she could beat your ass. So it's going to be an effective group. And like you said, it's a stable led by black wrestlers. That makes, you got Hit Row, you got the New Day when they're together, and then you have the Hurt Business.
Oh, the Hurt Business, right.
So there you go. There's another one.
I forgot about the Hurt Business. You're right about that. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So we're going in the right direction. But yeah. Had it stayed NXT proper that we knew, I think Hit Row would still be there. But I don't know who saw them like that helps on the main roster and is like, I need them, because I can't imagine Vince going, I need this rap group.
Right.
I think they're great. Like, I don't know who did it, but I'm glad somebody did, because Hit Row's great.
Yeah, agreed. This is an interesting shakeup for sure when you look at the draft. And here, let's bring it up. I know we weren't going to talk about it, but since you brought it up, we should take a look real quick and see what stands out for you. Let me share the screen real quick and see what you think about the Raw and SmackDown selections that they've got here. Let's take a look. There it is. There's the SmackDown selection, all the draft. Charlotte Flair, Roman Reigns staying put for sure. Drew Gallagher. I don't know, like Drew Gallagher. Yeah, Drew McIntyre there. Good to see. Corbin's over there. Toni Storm. Remember her? She's on SmackDown. Now, do you think moving Charlotte Flair over, keeping Sasha there, and then having Shayna Baszler, having Toni Storm, Naomi, this could be a really interesting women's division now, because Charlotte Flair can lose and regain the belt all the time. It doesn't affect her status. Whereas with Becky, I think they feel like they have to put her in this position to be the top dog for a while. What do you think about this with these selections here?
Well, for a minute, it was like the first time that the 4 horsewomen had been on the same show in a long time before Becky got drafted. So that was cool. I don't know, dude. Like, it just seems to me like we need to have one women's championship. Like, I can't stress this enough. Like, we'll talk more about AEW and what they're bringing to the table, but it's like, there's too many people, or there's not enough people to justify 2 championships. There's just not.
Okay.
Either there needs to be one solid women's championship and one mid-card women's championship,
right?
Or there needs to just be one.
Right. Okay.
So does it bolster the division? Yeah, it gets Shayna Baszler away from Nia Jax and all that silly, stupid Alexa Bliss stuff. So
right.
Hopefully we can see Shayna Baszler kicking some ass. That would be nice.
Yeah.
But then again, they do, like, whenever they do something good, they take Shotzi Blackheart and they take Tegan Nox and they split them up.
Yep. What the fuck?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and also when you're looking at Roman Reigns here, I don't see many challenges here for Roman Reigns' title. Yes, maybe Sheamus, certainly Drew McIntyre, but once you get past that, you're looking at Nakamura, maybe Ricochet if they give him a push. Roman Reigns, Sami Zayn, maybe if they want to have a little fun with him, but I don't see consistent challengers to his title in this crew of people that they've moved over, which makes me question the decision of having these people, of having it be lined up this way, because yes, you might want to keep Roman as your champion for a while, but you've also got to challenge him. And I don't see anyone past Drew McIntyre and maybe Sheamus who can legitimately challenge him and excite the fans to see that challenge for sure.
Yeah, it looks like him and Brock Lesnar are just going to be doing stuff for a long time.
Yeah, I guess that's the setup here. Let's move over to Raw here. Okay, Bianca going over, chasing after Becky. So that's going to stay a possible rivalry here. Alexa Bliss over there as well. Carmella, who beat Liv Morgan, I think, the other day. Yeah, and so she's moving on to Nia Jax is over there. We do have Liv Morgan. Mia Yim is over there. Rhea Ripley is over there. So a Rhea's Bianca BelAir program could be interesting, like reviving that from NXT. That could be a lot of fun. What is Tegan Nox's role going to be? The Selena is pretty much going to be, an easy W for most of the female wrestlers, I imagine. So do you like the female setup here more than the female setup on SmackDown? Or do you think it's about even?
It's about even. Okay. Here's another dumb thing.
Yeah.
Rhea Ripley and Nikki ASH were drafted. They're the tag team champions. They can be on either show. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And then Zelina Vega beats Toni Storm on SmackDown for some fucking reason.
That's ridiculous.
They had Zelina Vega beat Toni Storm. I don't understand that shit at all.
Right.
Sorry, I'm angry. And then, I mean, it's Gable Steveson is really like the one where everybody's like, whoa, hey, wait a second.
Right.
And it's good that Mia Yim is coming back as Mia Yim and not a member of Retribution.
Right.
So we get to see her actually do some stuff. But
I'm more excited for Raw. I'm more excited for Raw in terms of the lineups here, and even the men on the lineups on the men's side as well. There's a lot of challengers for Big E's title. This could go a long way to kind of really establishing himself as a strong champion, as a legendary champion, as an iconic champion. I'm looking up and down the list of people here. There's a lot of places you can go, a lot of programs he can work with. Randy Orton, possibly. Montez Ford is a possibility. Kevin Owens, Keith Bearcat Lee. Those are all possibilities. Seth Rollins, Miz, Edge, Finn Balor. There's so many great lineups. Karrion Kross. There's so many great. Apollo Crews even down the road again, this time battling for the top title. That could be very interesting down the road. So, and AJ Styles. So there's a lot of places that you can go with Big E now that I think will really establish himself as a champion. And I see there's more challenges for him and more exciting programs lined up for him versus what Roman Reigns has with just Lesnar and maybe a couple other people. So I like that overall. I think I'm happier with Raw's draft than SmackDown's draft, to be honest with you. And maybe this is on purpose because they know Raw's been falling apart. Maybe they think this is a way to revitalize Raw a little bit. It might be smart in the long run. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, Raw definitely needed a shot in the arm. So to get all these people over there, I mean, look at the list. It's bigger than SmackDown's list. So
yes, true, very true.
It's great. It's great. I mean, they've got young talent. They've got some veterans in there. They got people that you want to see. That you may not immediately turn the channel away from. Like, oh my God, we're going to do Sheamus and Damian Priest for the 50th time. Well, maybe we can do Damian Priest versus I don't know, Randy Orton. I don't know. We can do something different. So
there's a lot of places you can go. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's more interesting. That is for sure.
I got a sweet prediction. Doudrop, Nikki ASH come together, become female tag team champions some point down the road. I'm just putting it out there.
Okay.
That seems like a good matchup for me. All right. So that's an impromptu conversation of the WWE. What were we going to say? Sorry.
When is Doudrop going to stop being called Doudrop? Because that's stupid.
It is stupid. You're right. Whew. Well, we'll see what happens with that for sure. But that's our impromptu conversation of the WWE draft. We weren't going to talk about it, but Aaron brought it up, and so we thought we'd go through it real quick. And appreciate you all paying attention to that. All right, where shall we head off to start our rundown of the show here, Aaron? Our official rundown.
All right, so we're catching up for last week, doing Dark Side of the Ring. This is the tale of let's see what it's called, Blood and Wire, Onita's FMW. Now, if you don't know who Onita is, he started this company FMW over in Japan. He was a guy that wrestled, he did the normal stuff. He was in New Japan, All Japan, did that kind of stuff. Ended up getting injured, which kind of slowed down his promising career, so he couldn't work the same style. So he started doing deathmatch matches. And every match they seem to have on this program just kept getting more and more risky, more and more like, what the heck is going on? So just a lot of stuff going on. You see a lot of Jon Moxley in Onita, the way that the Wild Thing entrance, the jacket, the whole attitude. Jon Moxley's basically English Onita. So let me get your thoughts on this first, and then I'll go ahead and get mine.
Yeah, sure. Look, I loved it. I did the same thing you did. I caught up on the 2 episodes this morning. I had a really good time watching this one. Sometimes when they talk about other promotions, I can kind of drift in and out in my mind because maybe there are not that many stars or there's not that one person. But I love all things Japanese, man. I'm a hardcore, I don't know what, Japanophile, I don't know what you call it, but I'm a hardcore fan of that stuff. So listening to Onita, them having Onita, Ricky Fuji, the other guy that was there as well, talking, having Sabu be a part of this, Jericho, Terry Funk, who seems to still have his wits. It's insane to me. Terry Funk, with all the shit he's gone through, he is still somewhat a very connectable, communicable human being and doesn't seem totally out there from all the damage that he's done to his body and his mind and his head. So shout out to Terry Funk to have one of the hardest bodies in the world to still be able to talk and have regular conversations at this age after all that stuff. So it was great to hear the points of view, see this thing rise and fall, see the reasons for it. This guy, the FMW doesn't happen if he doesn't jump off that ring, snap his and accidentally snap his kneecap in half, and have to adjust and improvise and create this thing. And it was awesome. It was a lot of fun. This isn't like what you hate, that Nick Gage stuff or whatever his name is. This isn't what you hate, that deathmatch type of thing. This is inventive. This is smart. This is brilliant. This is a spectacle and show. And remember, at its core, professional wrestling is carnival. is a carnival, is a circus. That is always at its core. So you've got to please the fans, keep them excited, keep them believing in the suspension of disbelief, keep them involved in that. And I think they did a fantastic job here showcasing that in FMW and throwing in, like they like to do with a lot of these episodes, that element of a mafia or a mob or a crime or whatever dancing around. So although it's a fantastic rags to riches story, it's also a cautionary tale and a sad tale in the chapter of wrestling overall because of what happened after Onita retired. But I get it. As someone who's on the precipice of retiring from something that kind of got me a name or kind of got me known, I understand what it's like to just be exhausted by it and want to walk away from it. And seeing him here, you could believe why he wanted to stop doing it. There's only so much he could put his body through. And then seeing all the tragedy around it. But I'm telling you, this is one of my favorite episodes this season for sure. I was really in from beginning to end and living through the ups and downs of this story since I didn't know much about it. What did you think?
Trash.
Oh my God. You're
absolute
garbage.
There's no nuance to this crap. It's awful. Like, it's stupid to watch. Hey, you know what would be a good idea, guys? If 4 of us got into a ring, we wrap some towels around the ropes and we just set the son of a bitch on fire. Like, what could go wrong? It's stupid. It's dumb. It's backyard wrestling, but with a big crowd. It's so stupid. Like, okay, we're going to have an exploding barbed wire match, guys. Like, we're going to throw you into barbed wire, and the shit's just going to blow up on you. Like, doesn't that sound like fun? Like, no, that's terrible. That's stupid. That's so awful and dumb. And, like, Sabu was talking about how, like, the barbed wire, like, how it had literally ripped his arm apart.
Yeah.
Like, showing the scars and stuff. And it's just like, you don't need to mutilate yourself for my entertainment. I don't like that. Like in the 90s and early 2000s, okay, I guess that was like the counterculture thing to do. Was like, dude, look at this FMW stuff. This is amazing. But I don't care. It inspired a bunch of people that I don't like to watch wrestle now. And that includes John Moxley and Nick Gage and these people that think that, okay, well, let me throw a light tube into your head and that's wrestling. No, it's fucking not. Like, this guy couldn't wrestle anymore. That's why he started wrestling this way. Now, I'm not saying that he wasn't over. This guy was the Hulk Hogan of deathmatch wrestling. Like, he was over like Rover. And when that happens, you know, the Yakuza gets involved and stuff like that gets involved, but you have to know the history of stuff like that with the Pride Fighting Championships and things like that. So if you know that history, it's not surprising. But I just don't care for this kind of crap. Like, I knew what I was getting into when I saw this that was coming up, and I'm just like, who cares? Wow. Like, I'm sorry that Onita screwed over his friend and was just like, here, you take the business. And that guy got into debt, and one of the guy's daughter said that she thinks that he essentially killed her father, which is very sad. Yeah. That was a whole very sad situation. It just the whole thing of like, we're going to bring you out on a boat and we're going to have a match on the water, and whoever gets thrown in the water and explodes loses. Like, that's so dumb. And so many people like could get hepatitis and all this kind of stuff that we know about now. And it's just like, come on, bro. Like, I don't know who's entertained by this nonsense. Like,
a lot of people. I
guess so.
Yeah.
I guess so. A lot of people are entertained by anime. I'm not, but I understand it.
Wow, you coming for anime now? Jesus.
I'm not coming for anime. I like Death Note. That's like the only one I like. But it just doesn't do it for me. And then like Ricky Fuji was my guy though. I liked him in this because he seemed like he was having the best time. Yeah, and he was just like. He was like, yeah, this is kind of stupid and crazy, but I mean, we got paid and it was like kind of fun. But sometimes
they got paid. Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes. But then they talked about the Hayabusa story, and Hayabusa was this guy that actually like reminded you of like almost like a Rey Mysterio or more so of an Ultimate Dragon, like a guy that could like fly around the ring and do this crazy stuff. And he didn't necessarily have to do the hardcore blood and gut stuff. He would do it, but he didn't really have to do it. He's like Eddie Guerrero and Dean Malenko on the ECW shows. Like, yeah, you got the hardcore stuff, but then you go watch Hayabusa and you're going to actually watch a wrestling match. Very sad ending to Hayabusa's life. Very sad. But that that part of it I liked. The rest of it with the deathmatch stuff, I'm moving on. I don't care.
All right, listen here. There is no way professional wrestling would have survived without the influences of things like this. All right. The 80s were killing, the late 80s into the 90s, as they said in the documentary, were that I know because I was watching or not watching, the ratings were falling apart because you had these caricatures. No one was innovating. No one was coming up with shit until something like this happened. This influences ECW, which influences the Attitude Era, which influences the fucking NWO. It's all connected. He broke the mold. Now, was it on a large scale? No, but he was influencing wrestlers that were going to come into prominence, like Jericho, like other people who were over there, Mick Foley, Terry Funk. They were going to come into prominence in ECW, which was going to change the approach to wrestling in the big company, in the two big companies. So to me, I think you can absolutely make a case that if FMW doesn't happen, professional wrestling goes the way of the fucking dodo, or it's just boring, 0.250 watching ratings because it's just characters acting the fool. There are influences, and you can go all the way back. So this is not comparable to what came after, in my opinion. What came after, in my opinion, are the clones that you see in Palpatine in fucking Rise of Skywalker. Those clones in the thing, that's what those are. Not as good, but you can make it out that it's close, but it's not as good. This was stellar. This was brilliant. He was so over. Like they said, he was on talk shows. He was on game shows. He was doing all kinds of things. So he is not the minimized Hulk Hogan of deathmatch wrestling. He was third and sometimes second. His promotion was in terms of fame in Japan, which is pro wrestling hungry. So to that, I think he deserves credit. His innovations here, I think, were fantastic. And if there wasn't an audience for it, Aaron, it wouldn't have succeeded at such a mass level and influenced people here in the States, or wrestlers to go over, take those ideas and bring them back to the States and do incredible things with them and have it bleed into other things. He broke the mold in terms of caricatures. These were real people putting their bodies on the line in real ways. And so I think that changed and spectacle. And yes, the water thing was awesome. I thought it was brilliant. It's no different than having a wrestling match in the middle of fucking Shea Stadium. It's all about the spectacle of it all, the spotlight on it, and I enjoyed the hell out of it. I know you hate deathmatch wrestling, but I'm telling you right now, we wouldn't even have a show and there wouldn't be pro wrestling if there hadn't been this time period in the world of professional wrestling.
Okay.
Yeah. I said my piece.
But
I respect your point of view. Obviously, dude. Obviously.
It's just nonsense.
Yeah.
It's complete nonsense. Like you and I, untrained wrestlers could go and have a death match right now and people would be like, yay, hooray, because we have no skill and we're just hitting each other with stuff and we're willing to bleed.
Horseshit. You know what I'm saying? There is no way me and you could go do a death match and people would want to watch it. Maybe 10 people in a backyard and 9 of them are our friends. But there's no way we could go into an auditorium of 14,000 people and ride the wave of those people.
I'm telling you, if you advertise it as one guy is going to fall into a casket full of scorpions, and one person's going to get shanked in a fucking punji stick pit. Like people would watch it. People would care for it.
Fair enough.
I just don't get it. Like I've just never been a deathmatch guy. I don't get it. Like how many like the most deathmatch thing I can think of in WWE history is like Mick Foley getting thrown off the Hell in a Cell. Like that's right. That's like the craziest thing they've ever done. Well, maybe. But
where'd that come from? Him fighting with him being in FMW leads to that moment. That's what I'm getting at.
And then Vince McMahon was like, never do that again.
Yeah, never do that again. Right.
But it was big in Japan. It wasn't big in the States.
No. Right. It wasn't because we wouldn't put it on TV.
But they wouldn't put it on TV because it's insane.
But those kiosks that popped up all over in the late 90s and the 2000s in those malls, they were selling bootleg videotapes of FMW. I remember seeing those when I'd walk in where I lived in Virginia. I would see those at Potomac Mills Mall and see those tapes. So I knew deathmatch wrestling was around. It wasn't something I necessarily gravitated to, but I knew it was around. So to know that it influenced, it was something that you couldn't have access to it here in the States, but it did influence people, and that's the overall point of my.
I think you brought it up earlier, and it's to me, it's the wildest part of the story is that Onita wouldn't even have started this if all he did was step down for the ring apron. He didn't do a crazy dive.
He just jumped down.
He just jumped down for the ring and pop, there goes his kneecap. That kind of stuff is wild. In the chat, they were talking about Hayabusa. It's not like Hayabusa did some crazy move. He slipped on the second rope and landed on his forehead. That just happens.
Dude, I was watching the Trish Stratus Lita rivalries on the WWE Network last night, and that Lita move, that should have broke her spine when she fucking spears Trish Stratus onto the ground, and literally her body bends on itself. And it's no different than what we saw Hayabusa do in this episode, and yet she is totally fine, and he was paralyzed for the rest of his life. It's crazy how some bodies, just for whatever reason, the snap happens. It didn't even look like it was like his head necessarily snapped or whatever. It just looked like he hit his head and fell kind of awkwardly, but you just never know. Like Richard Petty, just one time slam, or who was it? Dale Earnhardt one time just slams into the side, and it's not even the worst of his crashes, and his neck snaps, and that's it. And you're just like, wow, that didn't even seem like that big of a crash. But it's the cumulative of all these things that sometimes, and especially this is a guy who had to train all the time in order to be in the shape that he was in, and he wasn't even that big,
Yeah, my doctor told me this story once. He's this really in shape guy, older, mid 40s, super in shape, and he was saying that he goes, I was on a diving board on a pool. There was lightning. So all I did was step off the diving board, and it slit the disc in my back. I had to have major back surgery. I've had back problems ever since. All he did was take a step down.
Yeah.
It's crazy how and Sammy Sosa, breaking his back, sneezing. It's just stuff like that's crazy, dude.
Yeah. Yeah. You just never know. Well, aside from the deathmatch stuff, though, you can't deny that did you enjoy hearing about the backstories of these wrestlers, the lives and all that kind of, even though it's a tragedy, I guess enjoy is not a word, but did you find it interesting to
the Hayabusa stuff? The Hayabusa stuff is interesting. The Yakuza stuff is always interesting because of crime and stuff, big crime buff. So, and stuff like I said, with the Pride Fighting Championships, if you knew all that kind of stuff, it's here's another part of it. So, it was interesting, but it's just I don't need to see this bullshit. I don't know why we're profiling it.
Fair enough. One more thing. Mike Awesome. I mean,
what a dude.
Dude, what a dude. Can we do a Dark Side of the Ring on Mike Awesome? I would like a Dark Side of the Ring on Mike Awesome, because this is a guy that most of the mainstream professional wrestling audience only knows from that Invasion angle and don't remember him from ECW. Don't remember him from so many other federations, something like this with the FMW. The fact that he was willing to throw Yakuza dudes around a fucking backstage area with no fear, that tells you this guy was built of some interesting stuff and some strong stuff. So I hope in the next year, the next season, they do a Mike Awesome documentary, because I'd like to see a Mike Awesome one for sure. And he was a damn good wrestler too.
Yeah, very sad ending for Mike Awesome's story. Yeah. So I'm sure it'll be profiled as well.
I hope so. All right, where are we off to next? And I don't see any Streamlabs or super chats, ladies and gentlemen. So if you send them in, send some support here as we go through the show here. So it's a Saturday. Have some fun, loosen the purse strings a little bit, and throw us some cash here. All right, what do we got next, Aaron?
Let's get angry again. And guys, we've been speculating on it for a while now. Where would she end up? Where would she fall? And America's favorite, Tessa Blanchard, has finally reemerged as the face of the revamped WOW Women of Wrestling promotion, which is kind of confusing because they revamped it a few years ago. But whatever, I'm not judging. It's just the thing they keep saying. But Tessa Blanchard has been out of action for quite some time since losing the Impact Wrestling Championship, or should I say, having it stripped from her.
Yes. For good reason.
For good reason, for her racist comments and behavior that she never apologized for. Let me put that out there. Never. Yep. And was accused of that by several wrestlers and being a bully and just being an all-around bitch. So we can't have that. The rumors had it that several former Women of Wrestling talents were contacted about returning, with only Blanchard being brought back so far. So the current talent, I looked up their current talent roster page. I don't know if this is current. This is just what they have. They have AEW's Kiera Hogan, Diamante, Thunder Rosa, and former NXT talent Santana Garrett, Impact's Jessica Havoc, among others, on their roster page. Now, this is supposed to be like Glow, like kind of a Glow revamp and stuff like that. So
yeah,
they have different character names, which is weird. So you got that going on. And so Tessa's back. Looks like she's going to be challenging a person named The Beast for the WoW women's or WoW heavyweight champion. There you go. The women's championship. So Tessa's back. Do we like this? What do we think is going to happen with her? How long is this going to last?
Yeah, a lot of thoughts here going on. First of all, Jeannie Buss being a part of this, she's the one that started this Women of, or one of the co-owners of Women of Wrestling, but certainly a driving force behind it. And listen, I love the idea. I've been saying it for years that there needs to be a women's only wrestling promotion, because there's so much talent out there to be used in those promotions and to be lauded in those promotions. So I love this idea that they have this. I love that they're revamping it. We're going to get to the other person who I'm really excited to have back in professional wrestling or in the world of professional wrestling, but the Tessa Blanchard thing, I have a lot of feelings about this, and they're so conflicting because I respect the woman's talent. I respect the woman's ability, her lineage, Tully's daughter, all this, and she's won everywhere she's gone. She clearly works hard at the gym. She works hard at being a professional wrestler. She's got a great character, and she gets over with the fans. That being said, all the things that came out were pretty strong, and there were a number of people corroborating these statements, these accusations. And as you said, she never apologized. And on her Instagram, she made it seem as if she was the one who had decided to take the break and went on her honeymoon and focused on her family and focused on and then said on her Instagram that she's not a racist. She's never said a racist thing in her life. That's not who she is. And in fact, I'm trying to bring it up here so I can share it with you guys so we can look at it, because I think it's important to have both sides of this kind of shown out and have her statements put out there, because she very much is not walking anything back about what she was accused of and what she said and what she did. So I found that to be fascinating, absolutely fascinating. And so let's take a look at this real quick. I'm going to share it with you guys so you guys can read along with me as I look at it here, and Aaron and I. There it is. All right, cool. Boom. There it is. All right. So this is what she said. And I don't know how to make it bigger other than to do this. So she said, the cat's out of the bag. I cannot feel more happy to announce WoW Women Wrestling turning and partnering with Viacom. I feel so blessed to stand with such strong and powerful women, each so unique in their respect and have such an influential team behind the scenes. We are building something so incredibly special, and I can't wait to wow the world. Our own Jen Sturger liked it. Our own friend of the show, Jen Sturger, liked it. So clearly there is a level of forgiveness possibly here going on. And, I just find this to be
click on that first picture there on our Instagram. Go back to it.
I'll actually bring it up here because I made a thing out of it. Yeah, this one right here. This is what you're talking about, right, Aaron? Talk to me about this.
Good Lord. So this popped up yesterday on my Twitter feed that Tessa Blanchard, we talked about this a few weeks ago, that she has quote unquote nuclear heat in the wrestling business, and AEW didn't want her, WWE didn't want her, NWA didn't want her, nobody wanted to deal with her,
right?
And that she had nuclear heat, and now we're doubling down, maybe even tripling down on the fact that she's got nuclear heat by releasing a t-shirt that says nuclear on it and has her name on it. Are you insane?
Yeah.
Are you insane?
But this is again, let me bring this up again. Professional wrestling has a long history of using real stuff and real anger from the fans to have that wrestler embrace it. Once again, I'll bring up what I watched last night, Rivalries. I also watched the Matt Hardy Edge one that was all about Lita and their relationship and all the things that happened with there. And I didn't know some of the stuff that was in that documentary. So if you guys haven't watched Rivalries on WWE Network on Peacock, you need to. It's great. And this is the same thing. People were booing Lita and Edge after the story broke, after Matt did multiple interviews for outside publications, after he was released from the WWE as a result of his anger about this. And that brought heat with the fans. And then eventually Edge and Lita embraced the heat, the real heat that they were getting behind in the locker room and on camera, and used that for their own benefit. So although I think it's disgusting that she's doing this, to be honest with you, I also think it's smart business for her to do this. Now, Is this going to pan out the way they hope it is with women in wrestling? I don't know. How many, and they're having her face a black wrestler. I think she's black, the Beast there, at least from appearances, from what I can see, she's black. So that could be very dangerous as well, dude. So they are definitely trying to use the old carnival tricks of making the audience upset at the heel and poking the audience with this nuclear thing. But this could also blow up in their face really badly if any of these issues pop up again. And the thing is, you imagine she might be on her P's and Q's, but Tessa doesn't strike me as a person who's necessarily going to keep it all in line the whole time and not get upset, not maybe get into a scrape. And the world of professional wrestling in the backstage, Aaron, people like to poke. And who knows who's going to poke her at the wrong time verbally, and could be an altercation that gets reported.
As a person that is invited to the barbecue of Black Wrestling Twitter,
I
can tell you,
that
I can tell you that the Black Wrestling Twitter voices don't fucking like Tessa Blanchard. I'm here to tell you that. Like, there's no remorse, no nothing. She's not shown it. Like, okay, you have like one little statement there, but she's never come out and said, okay, I was in the wrong. We've all done things in our past. That stupid bullshit blanket, thing, that whole John Gruden apology.
Oh,
and
God.
It's just like,
ridiculous.
It's just like, we just do this and we'll move on. She's never even done that much. So right. I think at a certain point, especially in 2021, people are just tired of it. Like, people are just tired of your bullshit. Like, you say something, you do something wrong. Okay, we're just done with you. Like, you go off to an island, you just don't work in the public again. And this is the only place that was going to take her. It's not like we shunned WWE. Like, I turned down all these great offers. Like, no one else wanted your ass. So that's where you end up. So I don't know. To be honest with you, like, yes, she's a great talent. She's a great legacy. She's all these things, but she's also an asshole and needs to accept that, and needs to, maybe she has worked on herself. I don't know, but she needs to come out in the public and say, this is what I'm working on. This is what happened. It's just like, come on. Like, it just feels disingenuous, dude.
Yeah. I mean, and I'm referring to that post earlier today. I was referring to that post that she put up when she was at Cabo San Lucas, and she said, that's not me. That's never been me. I love who she said something like, I say, all I can do is I can look in the mirror and say, I know that woman. I like that woman. I love who that woman is becoming and what she's capable of. That's all I need. Racist? That's not me. That's never been me. I don't have a history of being that way. I don't have a history of using that language. And that's the end of it. It's not just who I am. And I'm tired of being called, and my family seeing me be called something so hateful. Who I am is a woman that cares deeply about my passion and putting in work. So I don't know. It's an interesting thing, but we've got evidence. Well, we've got accusations, certainly. And we'd like to see some evidence maybe down the road of this thing, but all you have is accusations right now. So that's the kind of wiggle room that I think these promotions are using, or WOW is using here with getting Tessa on. And look, dude, we're seeing someone like John Gruden trying to wiggle out of that email with his response. So, and we're seeing a big, strong pushback, both on the left and the right, against this quote unquote cancel culture. I mean, we're seeing now with Chappelle all week this week, since Tuesday, a lot of people fighting against him and a lot of people supporting him, including Bill Maher last night on Real Time making a transphobic joke. So it's really interesting how this is all playing out. There's a war happening in our mainstream, in our pop culture, between the people who really want us to be better and the people who are like, it's not that big of a deal. And it's becoming a hell of a battle with more than one side on this thing, or more than two sides really on this thing. And so we'll see how this all plays out for Tessa, and if the noise just kind of dies away. But if they have her in a promo, make even a slight racist reference to further the heat, then I think you got to go after everybody involved in this promotion, because that's them approving that approach. And as Jeannie Buss, a woman who is an owner of the Lakers, who has black players, who has a strong relationship with LeBron James and Magic Johnson, that can blow up in her face, man. I'd love to hear what LeBron thinks about this, or Magic thinks about this overall, So
I'm here to tell you this, like, no matter how much money, how much publicity WoW gets, it ain't gonna go anywhere. Just like the last time they brought it back, it's not going anywhere.
Like, because they don't have the They don't have that, you know what I'm saying? Like
they don't have cachet. They don't have
cachet. Right. And women are not going to go, you know what? I'll go to WoW over WWE or AEW. They won't. Or even Impact, for God's sake. So
no, it's not going to happen.
I like this comment from Ryan. He says AEW wouldn't even hire her with her father in the company. Shows a lot about her and her reputation. Yeah.
There you go. I mean, that's all you need to know right there.
Yeah. That's a fair point. I think absolutely. And Justin adds in the fact that AEW and WWE wouldn't give Tessa a chance speaks volumes. Yeah, that's for sure.
And they brought back Hulk Hogan, so it's like,
who's that? Who are you talking about? And I'm aware of what I'm wearing as I talk about this. Let's say we got a Streamlab that came through from a few of them here. From anything more on this? So can we move on to these?
Let's please move on.
Yeah, okay, fine. We'll do it. Roberto Arsenal said, I watched the new FMW episode of Dark Side of the Ring. I loved it. I love watching death matches the way I love watching a classic wrestling match like Brett versus Owen from WrestleMania 10.
How dare you?
One thing to piss Aaron off even more, Tony Storm lost to Zelina in under 3 minutes. I didn't know that. That's true, 3 minutes?
Yeah.
Damn. What the fuck? Was there outside interference? Or was it a straight pin? It's a straight pin.
The two women's matches last night on SmackDown, Zelina, or two women's. I don't know if it was the only two. I didn't catch all of it, but it was Zelina and Tony, and Carmella and Liv went a total of, I think, like 5 minutes or maybe 6 minutes.
Wow.
And between both matches, and it was shorter than Roman Reigns' entrance.
Jesus Christ.
We're doing this again.
Yep. Marginalizing women again in the WWE. I thought this was the place to go, according to Triple H, to showcase that you're one of the best in the world at wrestling. Maybe not. Justin Toner has a couple of these back-to-back, so let's read them here. Hi, John and Aaron.
Roberto, by the way.
Hi, John and Aaron. Glad you're back. Missed you last week. I had a great time at the Dynamite and Rampage tapings last week in Rochester, New York. Great matches, great crowd. It went nuts when Sammy beat Miro for the TNT title. I agree with both of you on the WWE draft. I'm going to play Justin's video a little bit later on in the show. He was at the event and sent me a video of his time at the event. So we'll take a look at that a little bit later on in the show. And also Justin says, Bianca got to look badass on SmackDown last night. Yeah, I put that at the end of our rundown. She almost KODs both Becky and Sasha, but then KODs Becky on top of Sasha, putting them through a table. I love the EST. Her power is insane. Also, crown Xavier Woods, King of the Ring, please let him have his dream. Yeah, what do you think about that, Aaron?
Well, that's a lot. The double KOD was pretty badass. That was pretty sweet. Haven't seen that since like John Cena put the Big Show and Edge on his back. That's pretty sweet.
Oh, right. That's right.
And then the whole King of the Ring concept, like I'm not really into it because I know it's kind of sucks. But if it's a thing to get Xavier Woods over, I'm all for it because Big E's has his moment right now. Kofi had his moment. Yeah. Let's give Big E something or give Xavier Woods something. He deserves it.
All right. I don't know that he's got the pull, but then again, I could be completely wrong.
Everybody loves Xavier Woods.
Yeah, everybody loves Xavier Woods. Yeah,
and he's great in the ring. Everybody loves him. There's no reason that they can't do something with him.
All right. If you say so, man. All right. And one last one. We got a super chat that came in here from Orlando Rego, who says, I will give WoW and Tessa a chance since AJ Lee is attached to it. We're going to talk about that in just a second. Hopefully AJ helps Tessa for her future. Yeah, interesting, Aaron. We're going to get into the AJ Lee situation. So Orlando, let us swing back to your super chat here as we get into it. So let's do that now, right, Aaron? Is that next up on our rundown?
That's the next piece of information. That is AJ Lee / Mendez / Brooks is returning to the world of wrestling, but not as a wrestler, as an executive producer, as a writer, as a commentator for WoW, like we just talked about, the whole Tessa Blanchard thing. So AJ Lee hasn't wrestled for WWE since 2014 when she retired shortly after CM Punk left. She has spent that time writing comics. She wrote a New York Times best-selling book. She's writing the sequel. Writing the sequel to the Keanu Reeves film 47 Ronin. You can LOL at that all you want because that movie sucks. I'm sorry, she's co-writing. Let me make sure to say that. So your thoughts here on AJ Lee returning? Good to see her back, I'm sure.
Yeah. Oh, God, I couldn't be happier. I couldn't be happier to see her back because I'm a big fan of what she's been able to do and how I was so against AJ Lee. I mean, I was against AJ Lee from the beginning. I was just like, are you kidding me? This is crazy. She's not that believable in what she's doing. When Paige beat her, when she came up, I was so happy. But then somehow, some way along the way, I became a massive AJ Lee fan. Loved her, just her approach to it. Her abilities in the ring got better. Her abilities to tell the story got better. She got past the I'm just the crazy girl, kind of like Mickie James did. Like you just the crazy girl. There was more going on. And so as they gave her more to do, as they gave her more to explore, it was so much more interesting to see what she was able to do. So big shout out to it. I'm happy she's back. I'm interested. I'm curious to see why she's back, because clearly they must be paying her a certain amount of money, a good amount of money for her to come back, because she doesn't have to come back. As you said, her book tour, she's been doing signings everywhere. She's guests on shows, no problem. And she's co-writing a screenplay for a feature film. So these are things that you get paid for to do in good amounts. So she still has a name. Bringing her back in this way is, I think, Jeannie Buss's attempt to have some legitimacy back in the world, in women of wrestling, and bringing both Tessa Blanchard, who is a young woman in her prime, and AJ Lee, who is a legend, who left early in a lot of people's opinions, I think brings some credibility to the women of wrestling for sure. And no telling who she can attract, AJ Lee herself, from her experiences and her conversations and her self-help stuff, who could come be a part of women of wrestling as well. So, and it's a limited amount, right? She's just an executive producer, which means she's behind the scenes. She's also calling matches, but she's not wrestling. So this is a good way for her to come back and still do her other projects.
Yeah, I don't think she would be interested in wrestling. Not because she couldn't do it. I'm sure she could do it, but it's like you kind of moved on past that. Like once you get started, once you do one match, you're gonna have to do 3, 4, 5. Yes. Then it just becomes endless. Yeah. It's nothing but good for WoW. The thing is, like with this whole Tessa Blanchard situation, is the press for WoW good? It's good with AJ? Is it good with Tessa? I don't know. Can she get something out of Tessa? Can she make Tessa responsible and like teach her stuff? I hope so. Yeah. I think having AJ on the team is a good veteran presence. Like you always need that on a team. Right. So having her around is great. Hopefully I think she'll do great in that role. Mm-hmm. Like I said, I just don't know how stable WoW is as a company. I don't know. I just don't see it doing anything, John. Like I'm all for women's wrestling. I'm all for like a women's own promotion. I'm all for that, but it's like this just seems like crappy. Like this just seems from the ashes of Glow, we're gonna make this. Right. I've watched some WoW programs, or episodes rather, and all I can think to myself is, God damn it, I want to call these matches. Get me in there. These guys, get me in there. I'll call these goddamn matches. But like, I understand what they're doing, because they're essentially doing a WWE or WCW promotion. They've got all characters. They've got fun names. They've got great different type of archetypes of women in the world. There's a businesswoman, there's a schoolgirl, there's a stripper, I think is one of them. There's a tattooed person. So they've got all kinds of, they've run the spectrum. And right now when you go to, and it's called Superheroes Women of Wrestling. So taking advantage of this idea of superheroes being a big deal now in our culture. Right off the bat, it's the Beast who's listed first, then Tessa is second. So if you're bringing in someone from the outside and they're already in the second spot, really groomed for the number one spot, that tells you that the level of talent you have below her isn't up to that level. So you got to wonder, are we going to get great classic matches from Tessa and the people she's wrestling? I don't know. This is where my concern lies. Great, you got her. And it's not a coincidence that you brought her on the same day you brought in AJ Lee, because that kind of confuses people, because people love AJ Lee, love her journey that she's been on, the mental health stuff she's talked about. But then you bring in somebody who's really kind of nuclear. And so that balances it out. So as a fan, you're like, I hate this, but I love this. Or maybe I'll give this a chance, but this is great. So it gets people interested. Is it going to lead to views? I don't know. Is it going to lead to eyes? I don't know. Like everything else, Aaron, in wrestling, when you're starting a promotion, as much as great characters you can have, it's about the fucking matches. And are the matches going to be good? I don't know, but I trust that AJ Lee knows what she's doing. And I hope she has a lot of leeway, and these girls listen to her about what to do with their characters, man. Yeah, I think in that way, like it just, I look at it like this: like the NWA had so much momentum when they came in on YouTube, right? And then the pandemic hit, and there's nothing you can do about that. Yeah, and then just like their entire roster just got whacked. Like, Eli Drake went on to NXT, like Ricky Starks, their homegrown talent went on to AEW, and all these people got separated and moved and all these different places. And now the NWA is a shell of a shell.
Yeah.
It's just not interesting anymore. Like when I was watching, I was like, wow, this is really something that could be great. But then you look at AEW and WWE and you're like, yeah, but I'd much rather watch Big E versus, somebody, or I'd rather watch, Kenny Omega versus Bryan Danielson, and much rather watch that. So that's going to be a challenge too. Like you got to get a matchup or a program that's going to make people turn the channel, man. Like you're going to put Tessa Blanchard up against, the Beast, and people are going to be like, okay, I don't know who the Beast is, but that sounds interesting. And people seem to not like this Tessa Blanchard person, so I don't know why I'm tuning in, but here I am. So got to make it compelling.
You've got to make it compelling, right? Exactly. And you've got to have wrestlers who are wanted by other companies and possibly turn them down, which brings even more attention to women of wrestling. Because I'll bet every single one of these ladies, I'll put money on it. Maybe I'd lose some money here, but I think every single one, if the WWE called, they'd be gone in a heartbeat. Yeah. So that tells you like the level that this is at. You've got to have people who are dedicated to staying, even if they could possibly jump, because they want to promote and they want to build this thing from the ground up. That's what you need. You really need like 8 to 10 great wrestlers or good to great wrestlers who are committed to the brand and will fight for the brand and not leave the brand for a few years as it builds and gets prominence. Having CBS and Viacom behind them can help, but if you're not putting on classic matches that people want to watch, because I think people will give it a chance, then you're going to lose people quick, man.
Yep, that's exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah. We'll see what absolutely. We'll see what happens as I look through the roster here. All right. But what's your thoughts on AJ Lee overall? Like, what do you think she's going to do? What do you see her impact being on women in wrestling before we move on from this?
Well, like I said, I mean, it's good. It's always good to have that veteran presence. So like any like football team, baseball team, whatever, like it's always good to have somebody that knows, the ins and outs of what they're doing, because it helps the team. I mean, look at like an Albert Pujols on the Angels, or even Mike Trout at this point is veteran. So like having those good people behind you gives you security and gives you like, can teach your younger guys and stuff like that. So it's important.
Agreed. Okay. All right. Let's see. I don't have any more Streamlabs or Super Chats. Send them in, ladies and gentlemen. Send them in. And as Cheryl said, support the show. Smash that like button. Yeah. How many likes have we got so far? We got 75 y'all watching us and only 30 likes. Come on, people. Send in those likes. Get those likes going here on this situation. Get those likes. Send them in. Give us some love. And also send in the Streamlabs Super Chats. It's pinned in the chat. It's up there on the screen. It's also in the description of this video. So, all right, Aaron, where are we off to next?
I know we're missing some people for the Schmodown New York show. If somebody wants to make a sign that says Harloff fears Turner, you can put that up. That'd be great. Do it at this comedy show. But anyway,
put up hashtag one last right. That's what you need to carry that as well. Carry that in.
That's not what I'm hashtagging my match with him for. I mean, I beat him too, so it's whatever. He forfeited. So I beat him. Anyway, so now we're talking about the most recent episode of Dark Side of the Ring. It is entitled Bikers, Bombs, and Bedlam, the story of Johnny K9. Now, this is a Dark Side of the Ring I'm all about. Because this one...
Really? Okay.
And I can't believe... I don't think I should be saying this about Dark Side of the Ring, but this was fun. This is a fun episode because this Johnny K9 Bruiser Bedlam guy was insane. And the reason for that, the reason I say these things, big, jacked up, muscle guy, like they say he's like not cut, like he's just like this big brute, but like the nicest guy in the world, would like give you the shirt off his back, but like don't mess with him because he will beat the shit out of you.
There he is.
Like,
look at the size. Jesus Christ.
Big monster guy. And he comes in and he's a job guy for WWF for a while, putting over the bigger talents. They showed him losing to like Hacksaw Jim Duggan and Macho Man Randy Savage and all these people, like getting him over.
Right.
So then he's on. He's doing an indie in Tennessee, and he runs into Jim Cornette. Jim Cornette says, "Holy crap! Like, look at this dude. I can use him in Smoky Mountain. I can make him a big heel." So he goes down to Smoky Mountain. He works with Lance Storm. Chris Jericho's in this. They're both really good in this episode, Lance Storm and Chris Jericho as the talking heads. So good to see Bruiser Bedlam doing that kind of stuff. But then like they tell all these stories about how he would do these things, and it's like like I don't know if you caught this, John, but on the dark side of the ring Twitter page, they shared like bonus content, and it was Lance Storm and Jericho telling the story about how Johnny K9 would go into Walmart, take the sandals off of his feet, get new sandals, put them on, and then put the old sandals back on the rack, and just walk out. And Chris Jericho was like, this dude's 300 some pounds, like 6'2" or whatever. He wasn't 6'2". He's like 6 foot tall, 300 pounds of muscle. What are you gonna do? Like, are you gonna risk your job to go take this guy down? Like, what are you gonna do about it?
Plus, this dude's in a biker gang. So
we'll get there. We'll get there.
Sorry about that. Yes,
so all this happens, and he has his run in Smoky Mountain. Macho Man Randy Savage wants to put him over, which is wild. That was a wild part of the story. And then he finishes his time up in Smoky Mountain. They don't have anything for him anymore. He says, okay, thanks, Jim. And then goes back up to Canada where he lives. And he leads a biker gang.
Yeah.
And not like your uncle's biker gang where him and his buddy, like war buddies, ride around on motorcycles. Like, we're going to kill you, biker gang. And this dude was like the ringleader. And it's unreal what this guy would do. Like, he was a low-level enforcer at first. He's like, breaking ankles and busting you in the knee with a baseball bat. And then he moved on to like high crime where they're, bringing in drugs and they're, all kinds of shit. Like, it just got crazy. And I think why I like this one so much is because of the duality. I like stories with duality where you have this guy that's like a big muscle guy and you're like, something's off about this guy, but he seems okay. And then you find out later on that, he was the leader of a biker gang. He may or may not have killed people, and he blew up a police station. Like,
crazy.
What?
Yeah.
What do you think of this episode?
This was a nuts episode for sure. But these are episodes that I know it sounds like you really love it, but we're just on two opposite sides on episodes like this. If I don't know the person and I'm just like, this guy was basically a criminal, and it's like, okay, well, let's profile him, but he did nothing in the business. In the business. There's probably 40 stories you could tell just from one decade of wrestling about guys like this who came in and had this stuff on the other side. Like Dino Bravo makes sense, who was also involved with organized crime, but because Dino Bravo was a fucking name, like people knew Dino Bravo, right? Johnny K9,
similar.
In terms of what?
It's a similar story, not popularity, but it's a similar story.
Dino's just a way bigger name in the world of professional wrestling and stuff like that. And this is a guy who came in, was a jobber, started lifting, got bigger, then was able to completely change people's perceptions of, which I think is great. It's tough to do in professional wrestling. Once they pin you as one thing, it's tough to change people's perception. The fact that he was able to do it, he never really got back to the top again, to the WWE or WCW even. And even at Smoky Mountain Wrestling, the way Cornette says, well, we just had to change over and get new talent. We just let him go. And I'm like, wait, you gave this fucker a win over Savage. Why wasn't he good enough to stick around and keep around to even be a jobber or play a sometimes up, sometimes down storyline? Why'd you let go of him? And I think, like all things with Cornette, he's not 100% telling the truth about what was
son of a bitch.
Yeah, was probably going on behind. As much as he likes to be a quote truth teller, I don't think he's 100% telling the truth about some other shit that might have been going on behind the scenes with this guy. Because why would you get rid of a guy who is such a according to him, such a positive voice in the locker room, who's willing to do anything to be a part of your locker room, who's willing to go, take the hits, take the losses, take the wins, whatever that can bleed out to the other guys and create a positive atmosphere. And everybody talked about on this episode how great he was with everybody, how fun he was to hang out at the flop house and do whatever. And yeah, they have their stories about the dishes and all that, which is funny from Jericho, but overall, it was overall everybody. And listen, I'm not judging. I'm a guy who used to throw out old dishes because they would just mold up in the sink because I didn't wash them, and I would just buy whole new dishes. I'm in my 20s.
College, man.
Yeah, college was rough, dude. Especially when you're not really the most cleanly person at that time. I am now, but not at that time. So I get it. So I thought those were cute stories and fun stories. And the videos, and everybody says he was a teddy bear. He's so nice, blah, blah, blah. Then you get those stories about how the promoter built, was it D'Amore with Scott D'Amore?
Scott D'Amore
saying how he pinned that, from Impact, pinning that promoter from one of the smaller companies in the past there because he shorted him. And so there's a piece of him there's a part of him that's legendary to the people that knew him. But why couldn't he catch on? Why couldn't he be brought in to be one of these guys that kind of jobs to the bigger guys again, or maybe get a little bit of a mini run? Hell, if you can make was it Bill DeMott? If you can make Scott Norton, if you can, these are the same guys that are kind of similar to Johnny K9. I'll be damned if you couldn't have found a place for him. Fuck, if you brought him into the NWO, dude, he'd have been fantastic in the NWO. So especially when they had those Sturgis pay-per-views. So to me, this is what I come back to is that this is a guy who certainly had a name in professional wrestling amongst the boys, but involved with too much crime and involved with too much shit outside of it that you're just like, well, why are we profiling this guy over anybody else? So in the end, I thought it was certainly an interesting watch, but I certainly enjoyed Onita's FMW way more than this. But that's my point of view on that.
How dare you? But I just think I just thought it was interesting because they talked about the story about the marijuana and how he would spray it with Coca-Cola and stuff to make it heavier. And it's like, are you insane? Like, oh my God, like, are you insane? And his wife, like his widow, was like very open about telling stuff. And I'm like, are you sure you should be like talking about this stuff?
Well, the other side of it is, Aaron, real quick, how are you complaining about what he's doing?
I know.
You're fucking helping him do the thing. Like, what is wrong with your mind that somehow those two thoughts are not congruent in your mind? That's crazy for you to judge him, but then fully admit that you were helping him spray Coke and bringing in the money. And you're acting as if like, oh, I really hated that he was doing it, even though he's bringing stacks and stacks of cash to the door. You're lying. You're fucking lying.
Yeah. And we should just mention, like, he passed away from a heart attack, which they said was natural causes, which his wife said was because he got maced in prison and it got in his lungs. Yeah. And then somebody else said, well, he probably got a hot shot from drugs. Whatever. Like, I'm sure something like that happened. Like, how did she think that wasn't going to happen?
Right. Eventually, right? Well,
yeah, you play with fire. I mean, it's going to happen. Somebody, they got raided by the secret police or whatever they have in Canada. I don't know what they have in Canada, but like, they got raided. And then after all that,
yeah,
he started doing it again, like with the drugs and the different. It's like, dude, you just haven't learned your lesson at this point.
Aaron, he's got no skills. He's got no marketable skills. And once you take away professional wrestling, guys like that who are dependent on that kind of stuff sometimes turn to a life of crime because they haven't spent any time getting educated, getting skills to use in the workforce, or the pride of becoming just a regular Joe working an insurance job or whatever gets to them, and they can't live that life. And so you see that. And so they take the shortcut to the fast money, to the easy money, because I imagine there's a self-destructive impulse that goes on underneath as well, Aaron.
Yeah. We can't all just quit our MBA job and become amateur scientists like Kyrie Irving. So,
wow,
dipshit. He's such a dipshit. I get annoyed. I hate it. Like, I get annoyed with it. It's like Kyrie, like Jay Williams, like came on Twitter and was like, Kyrie Irving is like, doing his thing. And like, he's doing what's best for Kyrie Irving. He's doing his research. I'm like, I bet that the guy that went to Duke for one fucking year is now a scientist, like doing control studies. Like, fuck off. Like, just take the shot, you pussy. Like, I'm so sick of this crap. Anyway, let's move on. Sick of that.
Justin, I want to apologize to you, brother. Unfortunately, I can't seem to load the video on StreamYard for the show because it's 17 minutes and 6 gigabytes. StreamYard won't let us do that. So, but if you want to put it up on YouTube, I will retweet it and I will put it out there for people if you want to do that. And maybe I can play a snippet of it if I can cut it down as we're going through the show over the next 20 minutes. So just letting you know, Justin. So my apologies, my man. I didn't know it was, I thought you understood like a 2 to 3 minute video, but it's 17 minutes, brother. I can't play 17-minute video on the show. So much love to you, my man. All right. Where are we off to next, my man?
All right, we are talking about AEW Dynamite / no, it's just Dynamite. And so we're talking about, we got a new championship. We'll talk about that in a second. I'm just going to go down the rundown of what happened. We can talk about it all here in a second.
Yeah.
Adam Cole, the Young Bucks, and Kenny Omega defeated Christian Cage, Jungle Boy, Luchasaurus, and Bryan Danielson. Good to see him get a loss. Arn Anderson burns stuff in a barrel outside of the Rhodes home.
What's that all about?
And then slaps Cody. This Arn Anderson stuff has been fantastic.
Yes.
For all the wrong reasons. But anyway, Sammy Guevara defeated Bobby Fish to retain his TNT championship. Tony Schiavone announces the TBS championship is coming to the women's division.
Yeah.
And there will be a tournament to decide the inaugural champion. Yeah. Darby Allin defeated Nick Comoroto. Serena Deeb defeated Hikaru Shida by submission and then turned heel and beat the shit out of her. Adam Hangman Page returned to the casino ladder match and defeated Jon Moxley, Pac, Andrade, Orange Cassidy, Lance Archer, and Matt Hardy to become the #1 contender. So
that was a fun match, by the way. Yeah,
it was. Let me get your thoughts on the TBS championship. Women's mid-card title come to AEW.
Yeah, guess who's going to get that? Ruby Soho. I think they're absolutely
Jade Cargill.
Do you think Jade Cargill? All right. I think because Ruby didn't get the title off of Britt Baker, and they're not going to give her that title on Britt Baker. I'm going to take that title off Britt Baker anytime soon. I think they got to give her something, and I think maybe this mid card title is a good thing to give her as kind of a dry run to see what she might get or might be like as a champion if they were to hand her the women's title there in AEW. So let her win this title and then let her have these programs with all these other lady wrestlers who might be quote mid-carders and have some fun developing chemistry with them. And then maybe that can transfer over when she wins the big title if they like what she's doing with that title. So that's what I think is going to happen. But I respect the Jade Cargill choice. A lot of people feel that way too, Aaron. So, but what are you going to do with Ruby Soho? You can't bring her over and just have her not have a title. At some point, you got to give her a title because you made a big deal about bringing her over, man.
Yeah, but they also brought over Thunder Rosa and then you give her a title.
Well, I think that's a different situation. Like Thunder Rosa isn't over.
Wait a minute.
Thunder Rosa
wait a minute.
Hold on. Let me clarify. Thunder Rosa doesn't need a title to be over. That's what I'm getting at.
Okay.
Whereas I think Ruby does. And I think there's a difference there. And that does happen in professional wrestling. Some people you forget when they don't have a title. Some people when they don't even need it. Do you know what I'm saying? So
Roddy, Jake.
Right. Roddy never. Yeah, exactly. There's a plenty of recently. There's a lot of people who are over who haven't won the title in forever. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's just the way it works.
Yeah, I wasn't going to debate you on the popularity of Ruby Soho versus Thunder Rosa because I think in terms of wrestling fans and probably that AEW crowd, I would think that Thunder Rosa is more popular. I would agree. Wrong.
I would agree.
I could be wrong.
That's why I think the belt, she needs the belt. I don't think Thunder Rosa does.
Okay. Well, in that case, I don't think you're wrong. I think that actually makes a lot of sense. But I don't know if I like the idea of a mid-card championship for the women, and I will tell you why.
Yeah. Break it down, man.
The roster is not big enough. I'm glad they didn't do women's tag team titles. I would just throwing shit at the wall at that point. Like, stop it. Stop making it a thing. It's not going to happen. There's not enough women.
Yeah.
So I just don't think they have enough women to justify it. Like, what do they have? I don't know how many they have. I'd have to look at the roster, but I mean, let's say that they have 15.
Yeah.
So if you have 15 women, you got one already as your champion. So that leaves, you got to take one out for contendership. So that's like 13 women that could be the champion. I mean, I guess it could work. It just seems like, okay, well, here's your women's world champion, Britt Baker, and here's this other champion.
Right.
Like, does it matter? I don't know. So it's okay, I guess. But
yeah,
I don't think it's necessary. I think they could have waited a little bit to do this. I'm glad they didn't add a trios championship. That was the rumor. They were going to do trios.
Oh, yeah.
And I was going to say, this isn't fucking Mexico. Stop doing that.
Right.
And 6-man tag matches suck. So I'm glad that they did that, I guess. But just could have been a little... I'm sick of AEW announcements, too. Oh, we got a big announcement. Stop doing that. Just fucking do it. Anyway, but
it's fair. I think that's fair. What did you think of the matches? Did you like the Hangman? I mean, that Hangman Page match was fucking excellent, dude. That was a lot of fun.
I love the Hangman, so I was glad to see Hangman Page back doing his thing. I don't know where this puts him in the fold, though. It's like he's the number one contender now, but we have Bryan Danielson and we have Omega that need to finish something. So how long do we hold on to this? I don't know. Like, do you automatically put him back in the fold, and do you make him the champion? And if you make him the champion, does he feud with Bryan Danielson?
Yeah, it's a good question.
It's really confusing, huh?
Yeah.
Like it's really confusing at the top. They really kind of booked themselves into a hole with Adam Page, which kind of sucks.
I just feel like
it's not bad though. It's not
but
bad.
A lot of people have been predicting that it's going to be Page who takes the belt off Omega. So this sets it up, doesn't it?
It does, but it's like, CM Punk said this once. He said it's not necessarily the match that you have to build to. It's like, okay, yes, I can do that. I can lose, I could win. Yeah. But what am I doing after that it's going to keep me going? And that's really the question for not only Kenny Omega, but also for Hangman Adam Page. Like, he's the champion, but who does he face now? Do they go like younger guys? Does he face like MJF or somebody like that for the title? Or do they go a little bit different, and maybe he faces a Lance Archer or a Miro or somebody like that needs to get to that level to be a threat?
Yeah,
I don't know. It's interesting, and it's interesting enough to keep me on the edge of my seat with Hangman Page, because I feel like I felt like they were going to fuck him over. I really did, with all this Bryan Danielson CM Punk business. Yeah, but I feel better about it now that he's the number one contender.
Yeah. I think so too, and I agree with you. There was like in your mind, you're like, well, where's the place for him? Because they've been building this up, and then when they kind of moved him to the side. Well, I think he wanted to be home with his wife, right? They had a baby. Yeah. It just created. People thought, oh, see, this is the start. They're just going to keep putting him to the side, and all these other people are going to be the focus. But it looks like that's not what they're doing. They just let him have his time, and they had these people to come in and fill in the space, and had a chance to kind of be the focus, and let Hangman Page to hang out with his wife and rest. Now he's back. Great match here. Fans went crazy when he won. So now you've got that hype back in people's minds that he's going to take on Kenny Omega and have an awesome match with him. So, yeah.
And also, Andrade El Idolo had the chance to win, but then didn't.
Yeah.
He just jumped on Pac and did the thing. What are you doing? Make it kind of believable, dude. Like, what are you doing? I would rather not get a championship shot. I would rather throw my rival off of the ladder.
Right.
Dumbass. God. It's not even like, it's no logic.
No.
I got to take a shot at AEW, guys. I have to.
Please.
I can't just be on
just at least one. Yeah.
Let me get one in there.
Let me ask you another question, Aaron. There have been rumors, and speaking of El Idolo, and I know it's not connected because Andrade doesn't have any of this stuff behind him, but El Patron himself, there have been rumors that Alberto Del Rio is telling people behind the scenes that he might be coming back to the WWE. My mind was like, what? Isn't Page still somewhat involved in the WWE? Why would you bring this guy back? This isn't a Lita Matt Hardy Edge situation. There was domestic violence there. This is something could be dangerous, don't you think? And do you believe it?
No, I think that's a rumor he started himself. I'm going to get on the level with you, and I don't know if this is going to get me in trouble, but I'm going to be on the level with you.
Uh-oh.
I think that El Patron is involved in the cartel.
What?
Because
I'm not saying. In no way do I agree with what Aaron is saying. Please do not come kill me. Please, whatever Aaron's saying is Aaron's own idea. All right, go ahead.
I think that okay. Let me walk that back. I think he's involved. I think he's involved in crime.
Okay.
And I'll tell you this: like the guy was assaulted and stabbed at an airport for no fucking reason. Like, why? Why does that happen?
Yeah.
And then he's always into like all this stuff, and I'm like, I think he's into something. Anyway, long story short, this guy will never, ever, ever, ever grace a WWE ring.
Really?
Ever again. Okay. Ever again for no reason, because doesn't he have like a looming charge for like attempted rape on somebody? Like, dude, they're not touching this guy. If they're not touching Tessa Blanchard for racist comments and stuff like that, they ain't touching this clown. And he's already been gone twice or 3 times. So there's no point in keeping this guy.
But he's still wrestling. So clearly there's an audience for this guy. So maybe they think they can do something here, but this is kind of scary. Yeah.
In Mexico, where like nobody gives a rat's ass, like that doesn't mean anything.
Oh my God. Ronnie, you're absolutely right. Ronnie Gudinho Sandoval. Don't go there, Aaron. Exactly.
I walked it back. I don't know what
you're
cartels
in fucking
are.
Florida, man. They can find you easy.
I don't know where cartels. I don't know where cartels go. I don't.
Yeah, I don't know anything about that. I don't condone anything about that. I'm not involved in it at all in any way, shape, or form. So if Aaron feels that way, that is his fucking opinion. Please don't drag me into this hell. Anyway, All right, yeah. So I like this idea. I like, not that idea of Alberto Del Rio coming back. I also think that's not going to happen. But I enjoyed AEW. This was a lot of fun, dude. I'm telling you, this is starting to become appointment television for me. Does every match work? No, but I'm going to say something, and this might get me in trouble. I don't think they're going to go next level, bro, with Taz, Jericho, and whoever else is calling those matches. I hate to break it to you. You got to find a Jim Ross, Jerry Lawler combo. You're not going to make it. And I don't mean Jim Ross now. I mean the Jim Ross back then. I don't think, as I was watching the matches and these guys are calling the matches, I'm like, these matches do not match up with the level of commentary that you're getting for these matches. These matches are above the level of commentary that you're getting for these matches. So to me, I think that's got to be the next step for Khan. Somehow convince Mauro Ranallo to come back if you can and set up all the mental health guidelines that he needs and get him to be the voice of AEW. Because I'm telling you right now, these guys aren't selling the fucking product. And it's been the problem since the beginning. And in the past, you're okay with it because, hey, these guys are at this level and this is the kind of commentary that works. Now that you brought in some big names and you want to have prominence, you can't have, in essence, look, I know people are going to get mad, but you can't have community college level announcers for Harvard matches. You just can't. And so to me, I'm thinking they've got to make a change here on the commentary side of things because they were boring the fuck out of me. Look, I love Taz and I enjoyed him on, but there's a reason WWE got rid of him as a commentator. Like, he does a good job, but he's not consistently the guy that's going to elevate your product. He just isn't. And so him and Jericho combo is almost worse. And nothing against either. I think they both work individually well, but together, I don't sense any chemistry in the back and forth. And it almost feels like you're watching listening to a couple of dudes sitting in the back watching the show. And that bothers me, dude. So I may get in trouble for that, but that's my opinion.
No, I think if there's a weak spot in AEW that's quite glaring, it is the commentary. Jericho's awful. I don't think that's a secret. I think even a lot of AEW people would say that Jericho's awful. He just yells.
Yes.
Look at that drop kick. It's like, shut up.
Yeah.
God, it's not that exciting. But it's like, they have Excalibur, who I'm kind of hot or cold on. Like, sometimes I like Excalibur. Sometimes I don't.
Okay.
Like, sometimes JR's like really into it. Sometimes he's not. And Tony Schiavone is just there to have a good time. He just kind of echoes what everybody says.
Yeah.
And that's fine to an extent. So there has to be some kind of balance there. I like Taz sometimes. Sometimes he's on, sometimes he's not.
Right.
I like people in the chat are suggesting Mauro Ranallo. I would love that because I love Mauro.
Yeah.
Oh, you did? Okay. I'm sorry. Must have misheard.
Pay attention.
But, sorry. But I think Mauro, honestly, I think Mauro wouldn't do it. I just think he's done with wrestling at the moment.
Okay.
It would be a nice shot in the arm because he's so good. What if they could get Gus? What if they could get Gus Johnson?
You think you wait a fucking minute? You think you can't get Mauro Ranallo, but you can get Gus Johnson? Are you insane? He's calling NFL games. That guy is not down at the WWE level.
You pay someone enough, they'll
or AEW level.
You pay him enough, they'll do it.
Not Mauro Ranallo. You just said that you don't think you would.
Well, Mauro Ranallo is different. He has a, he has a
Gus
he has a condition.
Mauro can't. You're insane.
I'm just saying.
I just think you're insane.
I said what if. I didn't say like, oh, they're gonna get Gus Johnson. Like the WWE and all. You know who they could get?
Who? Tell me.
Mike Goldberg. They could get Mike Goldberg. Mike Goldberg went from the UFC, the Zuffa era, which the UFC was at its apex. I will fight you to the fucking death and tell you that UFC is as boring as it has ever been today. It's boring as fuck because they have no stars. I'll say it right now. Mike Goldberg got unnecessarily shunned from the UFC and went to Bellator. And he's doing fine. He's doing the Mike Goldberg stuff, but God, how great would Mike Goldberg be in pro wrestling? He would be fantastic. WWE tried to get him a long time ago, and they couldn't get him.
That's a good
so what if they got Mike Goldberg?
All right, fine. I'll accept the Mike Goldberg thing, but I won't accept Gus Johnson. Don't you come for Gus Johnson, for God's sakes. Man's a fucking legend.
Can we talk about the fact that MMA has no stars? Can we talk about that? Wow,
you want to make another?
No, I'm serious, dude. Like, okay, so they're doing this thing on AEW where they have American Top Team coming out there, and they have Junior Dos Santos and Paige Van Zant and Jorge Masvidal. Yeah, she's great. And Junior Dos Santos at one time was a great heavyweight champion. Jorge Masvidal is is good.
Yes.
And they had Dan Lambert come out here, the leader of American Top Team, and it's like, it doesn't mesh. Like, I don't know why, because American Top Team is obviously an elite training camp for fighters, but it's like, I don't know where this kind of disconnected, because I feel like I used to be such a big MMA fan, like big UFC MMA fan.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of my wrestling brethren were MMA fans too, but now it's like they don't have that crossover anymore. Like, people that like wrestling do not give a fuck about MMA. So like when they come out, it's like, who cares? Yeah. And who are these people? But it's like, I really look at the UFC and Strikeforce, like top to bottom. I'm like, who's your stars? Like, you had in the past, you had Anderson Silva, George St. Pierre, John Jones, who's now disgraced. And then you had Ronda Rousey and BJ Penn and Matt Hughes and Conor McGregor and the Diaz brothers, and these people that you would put asses in seats, like even like Donald Cowboy Cerrone on like a smaller level. But now I look at it and I'm like, who's the fucking lightweight champion? I have no idea. Yeah. Like, I don't know. They just don't have stars, and that annoys me.
Okay. Listen, I don't think you're wrong. But this is the lull with every federation, isn't it? No matter if it's wrestling or whatever, there's always a lull. Do you know what I'm saying? There's always a lull. I mean, you know, I'm not going to say anything, but there's always a lull when the legends retire. The legends leave,
John Rocha saying when
boys,
he leaves. I got you. John Rocha saying when he leaves the Schmoedown, no one gives a shit.
I'm just saying that the Young Bucks can't
butts
carry
in seats.
Yeah, they don't put butts in seats. So you know, I'm just saying that happens all the time.
Listen, the Outlaws not on the New York show. That's why they discounted tickets yesterday. I said it.
Did they discount tickets?
I said it. They discounted tickets.
Jesus.
And Christian Harloff is still afraid of me.
Oh my God. I don't even know that you register on his scale.
I'll send him an angry text that he won't read.
You should. That he giggles at over a beer.
He probably would, honestly.
I should have pitched him something. I was thinking about this morning in the shower. I should have pitched him something where I interrupt the event with a video, and I should have just fucking
in the shower.
Yeah. Oh no. I mean myself in the shower thinking about the event. As I should have pitched a video where I interrupt the event and be like, Harloff, where are you? You know, something like that, and make a big.
Why don't you just go to New York and like actually attack him? That would.
I thought about it. I'm not joking. I thought about pitching him something a few days ago where I fly to New York, but the COVID thing, dude, doesn't make me want to get on a plane. Doesn't make me want to go to New York where nobody's fucking clean, and doesn't make me want to be in a room like that. So
what's the name of their bodyguard? What's the bodyguard's name?
Who?
The Schmoedown bodyguard.
JC?
No,
I haven't seen JC.
He has like
ever.
He has like one name. Like he's just a big guy.
I don't know, dude.
I forget it. He was at the Orlando one.
Jay Washington. Yeah, JC. That's who it is. That's
JC. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I feel like I knew him under a
former
different
pro or occasional pro wrestler.
Dude, he's awesome.
Yeah, he's a nice guy. I love.
You could have totally worked something out with him. Like, hey, dude,
I haven't
I'm just
seen
gonna run
him,
in
though.
and beat the shit out of Christian Harloff.
I don't even know if he's part of it. I haven't seen him, and I haven't heard anything from him, so I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
I got an idea. Let me pitch this to you right now before we
I
get
like
to the
this
last.
idea. Rent a horse and right into the match. No.
You ever ridden a horse?
Yes, many times.
Fuck. Okay.
Don't listen to fucking Makuga with his bullshit when he was like, "This guy's ridden a horse" with his medium shirts. Give me a break. I
fucking
rode horses for many years in Virginia, for God's sake. So anyway, go ahead.
We should get a tank and go to his house.
A tank?
A tank. like when DX went to go to WCW.
Bitch, do you know how much a tank is? Rent, and do you know how much damage we cause on asphalt in front of his house?
We don't have to get like a real tank. We get like one of those Jeep tanks with a cannon on it. You know what I'm saying? Like, and just show up at his house and be like, "Listen, you son of a bitch." Anyway, okay. So our last story.
Anyway, what's our last story? We got to get out of here.
So we're talking about Becky.
Yeah, Shotzi's tank. We should have got Shotzi's tank. Absolutely, Aaron. We should have gotten Shotzi's tank.
I don't want to fire Nerf darts, but anyway, this could hurt people.
Go ahead.
Stop it, Roberto. Stop commenting.
Please don't.
Bianca BelAir on SmackDown finally gets a measure of revenge, and so Bianca's in the ring. Sasha's on the commentary table, and Becky Lynch, which was my favorite, set up a table with a chair in the middle of the aisleway, just sitting there. I love that. And Bianca BelAir was just saying, hey, this is all about me. Why are you guys like jumping me from behind? And they're like, oh, you're not that important, blah, blah, blah. You suck. And then Bianca Belair proceeds to John Cena their ass. Like, beats the shit out of Sasha Banks and Becky Lynch. This, of course, is setting up a triple threat match in Saudi Arabia, which I won't watch, but that's cool. And so she hits the KOD on Becky through Sasha in the table. Good to see Bianca Belair finally getting a measure of revenge.
I think I can show 6 seconds of it. Then if I have to take it out, I'll take it out. But this is the 6 seconds. I think I could show it. I don't have to put any audio. So here we go. Right there.
KOD through the table, and wham! There you go.
Fantastic. What she is so powerful now. So I think, and of course WWE is going to retcon this and say we planned this the whole fucking time. But I think the backlash of it woke them the fuck up, and they realized, okay, we got to build her up. We'll take Becky out of her way. Oh no, sorry. We'll take Sasha out of her way because Sasha stayed on SmackDown. But we'll let her like do something to Sasha and then do something to Becky. Now, and Becky, look, I know Becky's in the best in terms of thin shape she maybe has ever been, but dude, Bianca looks like just a class above physically in terms of strength, everything. And Becky looks like a ragdoll in there. And so I am so curious to see the next time they get in the ring. And it is kind of groundbreaking if they're going to do a triple threat women's match in Saudi Arabia. Remember that was a big deal of when they first started doing these matches in Saudi Arabia, that no women were allowed to go over there to wrestle. So if they're going to wrestle, I think it's a great way for them to kind of break that issue open and have them wrestle all three of them. But in the long run, there's no way Bianca isn't getting that title back from Becky. And I don't know what Becky does after this, because I kind of feel like the shine is a little bit off of Becky Lynch. And I don't know if she's going to be able to get it back, because Bianca looks like the next generation. And where's Becky's place in this if Bianca is this sort of unbeatable stallion, which she is? So when I was watching that, that's what occurred to me afterwards. I was like, man, she looks like the next level. And I just don't see that Becky or Sasha are on that level anymore.
She's unreal, dude. Like,
yeah.
Someone in the chat will correct me, but I don't know who she did it to. I'm thinking she did it to Sasha. I could be wrong in NXT when she gorilla pressed them and then walked up the steps with them gorilla pressed and threw them in the ring.
Isn't that Sasha? I thought that was Sasha at WrestleMania.
I think it was.
Yeah.
Oh, was it? Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah.
That's so hard. Like that is, you have to have I don't care if Sasha weighs like 100 pounds or less. Dude, that's hard as fuck.
Your shoulder has to be really strong to keep someone at that height to walk up leveling step. Like, it's incredible. Like Warrior used to pick them up and walk around, like do a circle and then drop them. And look how big Warrior was. So the fact that Sasha can, Bianca can do that is incredible. So yeah, you're right.
And she did it to Candice LeRae in NXT. She essentially clean and jerked her from the ground.
and just incredible.
Dude, that is so hard to do. Like, even doing clean and jerks, like, I haven't done a clean and jerk in like 20 years, but I'm just saying, like, it's so hard.
It is hard.
It's so hard to do because it's one fluid motion and up, and it's so much strain on your knees, your back, your shoulders. Like, it's so hard to do. And she makes it look effortless.
Yeah.
And I know, like, she was a track and field star at Tennessee. That's SEC country, man. That's legit for you guys that don't know.
No jokes.
But it's like, I don't know what the fuck, like, javelin. What was she doing? Because she's strong as an ox, but it's not overbearing. Like, you look at China and you look at
China.
You look at Jade Cargill and you look at those two women and you go, yeah, that makes sense that they could do something like that. And I'm not saying like Bianca's not ripped. Of course she is. She's ripped to the gills.
She is.
But when she does it, it just looks so impressive. Like, it looks like she lifts weights for fun.
Yeah.
Like, she's just strong for fun. And she's like super athletic for fun. Like, unreal, dude. Like,
she was a multi-sport athlete at Tennessee, right?
Yeah. Every time I see her do something, and it's just blows my mind. I don't know how. I also don't know how they do something with Becky, because they're both going to be on the same show. They're going to be on Raw again, so this is going to keep going.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Do you throw Bayley in the mix at some point? Because
Bayley is the next logical choice, in my opinion. Bayley can hang, and I know people. Again, I'm not trying to offend anybody here, but it's so crazy that Bianca almost single-handedly is moving us to the next level in the women's division. And Sasha and Becky look like divas now compared to her. Like back when Stacy Keibler was wrestling or whatever. And because they've lost weight, they've thinned out to kind of focus on possibly doing Hollywood stuff, being in The Mandalorian. I don't know what Becky's got going on, but she certainly looks thinner. Alexa lost weight as well. That affects people's believability in their minds that you can wrestle. I mean, if you see Jungle Boy up against what's his face, Gage, you're not going to be like, oh yeah, that's totally believable. It's just kind of, you're seeing that the thinner look here, I think, in my opinion, is not the next level. And Bianca combines both a feminine look and strength, and I think that's going to be something that they start looking at more and more. And Bayley can hang. Bayley's always been able to hang because Bayley is just kind of conveys the strength and her abilities, right? And I wonder, Becky was always a great personality who could wrestle. But when you talk about the great matches, you're usually mentioning Bianca. You're mentioning Bayley, or you're mentioning Charlotte, or you're mentioning Sasha before you get to Becky on the come up. And so that to me tells me there's more material to work with here with those than there is with Becky and maybe a little bit Sasha now that she's gotten thinner. Okay, that's not to criticize what they're doing. I respect why they're doing it, but in the world of professional wrestling, I don't know that it's going to get over as strongly anymore, or it becomes believable anymore.
The question becomes, I'll make a football comparison here. Does she, remember in 2003 when Michael Vick came into the NFL and people just like didn't know what to do because he was this 6'3" left-handed quarterback that could run a fucking 4.3 40, strong as an ox, could throw it 100 yards. Like, what the hell? Like, what are we supposed to do with this guy? And then eventually they figured it out. They figured out how to stop Michael Vick and then dogfighting and stuff. They figured it out eventually. Right. Is this the same kind of situation where Bianca's like on such another level that people are like, okay, now I have to conform to this way of doing it? Yes. And we just get another standard.
Like Tiger. When Tiger started lifting weights, all these golfers that were pretty much all the chubby golfers within 2 or 3 years were fucking dodos, dinosaurs. Everyone else, even Mickelson, who is no athlete by any way, shape, or form in terms of physical appearance, started lifting weights. John Daly was the anomaly, the kind of tubby guy who had natural strength. Everyone else started even Vijay Singh started lifting weights. Ernie Els was lifting weights, for God's sakes, to hang. And look, I want to show you one more thing here, because just to show you exactly what I'm fucking talking about, to reaffirm what I'm saying. God, I don't know why it does this, but this is her carrying both of them, before eventually she kicks Sasha onto that table and drops back. Both of them, Aaron, both of them. That's the kind of strength we're looking at. And I think Rhea Ripley also, that's the next level as well. Rhea also a feminine look, but also strong as hell. Raquel Gonzalez, when she eventually makes the jump, same thing. Even Toni Storm is strength from the legs, from the waist down. That is a lot of strength. Plus, plus she's low to the ground, so she's able to kind of take advantage of that. So that's the next level. I think Sasha and Becky eventually are going to get moved out, bro. That's how it works. And because they're focusing on other things, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I think that's what's happening here. We're seeing the transition, in my opinion.
So I'm going to disagree with you on that, because these women. Like, Becky trains CrossFit now. She'd never done that before.
Right.
When she got with Seth, it's just a different thing.
Right.
Like, I don't know what Sasha's training regimen is like, but Becky talked about her CrossFit. She does that. Charlotte is a former volleyball player and gymnast, so she's got that going for her. Bayley, I think she played basketball, but I don't think at like a collegiate level.
Right.
So they have some sort of athletic background they got to get into. I think it's like, okay, like back when I was in school, like high school and college, we didn't train the same way. Like when we trained for football, we drank creatine. That was like, dude, that's going to put on some muscle mass. Like, these people have like meal plans and they have like macros they have to hit. And like all these high school dudes look fucking ripped, and they're like, the men, the women, like all these athletes are just so different. Like I would get fucked up in high school if I was going against these kids.
Oh yeah, nowadays, oh my god, yeah.
It's just a completely different scenario. It's a completely different thing. And
don't misunderstand. Wild. Don't misunderstand what I'm saying. And anybody watching, don't misunderstand what I'm saying. I'm not saying Sasha or Becky is not strong. I'm not saying that. I'm saying the look of them, when you're seeing the skinnier arms, when you're seeing the skinnier legs, it doesn't necessarily make you believe that they're strong enough to hang with someone like Bianca BelAir in the ring. That's my opinion, and that's my belief here as I'm looking at it. But I mean, of course, I could be 100% wrong because they're incredible characters. I'm just saying, for me, that struck me last night. And again, I could be 100% wrong. It's just what struck me as I was watching it last night. It felt like Bianca is the next level. And though Sasha and Becky can most certainly hang, I don't see them as the future anymore. I think Bianca is the future. And it's been incredible to watch,
So you're just talking about it from like a believability standpoint.
Yes, that's the only place
you say that.
Yeah.
You say that. Well, Becky's smaller than Well, I guess, but then again, Rey Mysterio is a world champion, so it's like in a world that doesn't really make any sense either.
Again, like I said, I could be 100% wrong. You're right about that. I mean, look at this. Rocha is fat shaming. How am I fat shaming? I'm 250 pounds. How the fuck can I be fat shaming? I'm talking about my people. I am a fat man. I'm talking about my people, so I'm not fat shaming. You can suck my balls. It's hilarious to me when people.
This just in: John Rocha says he can gorilla press Christian Harloff and walk him up a flight of stairs.
I probably could press.
That's so hard, dude.
Yeah,
even at my strongest, I couldn't lift my 125-pound friend over my head. Couldn't do it.
Yeah, Roberto, I weighed myself this morning because I went to the doctor yesterday, and the doctor said I was 256, and I'm like, how the fuck am I 256? And then weighed the scale here that's correct, and I'm at 250. And you're right, I don't feel like I look it, I don't feel like I feel it, but I am 250, so there's no denying it. So I've got to lose 20 pounds for the love of God to look deep. Maybe I'll lose them by spectacular. We'll see. But so I'm not fat shaming everybody. I'm a fat man looking at something and analyzing it and I've always struggled with my weight. So it isn't like I wasn't Travolta, for fuck's sake, when I was younger. Like, I've always struggled with my weight. So I'm a fat person who talks about these things. I want to make it clear because some people have been coming after me for that shit. I'm like, get out of here.
What's funny is like I weigh like 220. So it's like,
yeah. Oh, you used to?
No, I don't. But I'm just saying, like, trying to make a joke there. It didn't work.
Look, I did CrossFit for 3 years. You can be strong.
Dude,
you can be strong. It's incredible, CrossFit. I love it.
It scares me. It scares me to death because
if you get the right gym, Aaron, you'll be fine. The gym that tries to be toxic about it, that's the ones where you get injured. Sorry, go ahead. Sir.
What scares me about CrossFit is like I've never like. There's been workouts I've done where I worked hard. I used to be an amateur wrestler. Like, shit's hard. Like 108-degree wrestling room with the fucking heat turned up to make you sweat. And I've never thrown up during a workout. It's never happened. I'm so afraid of doing it. Like I've seen like my friends do CrossFit and they're like just bleh. They're like showing videos of them working out, like throwing up everywhere. And I'm like, dude, that's not for me. That is not for me. I don't want to throw up while I'm working out because I don't want to pass out. I don't want to do any of that. And I've been talking to my wife about it. She's like, yeah, I think CrossFit is something you would probably like to do. I'm like, because we watched a video on the Try Guys doing it.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, no, that's not for me.
It challenges you.
I'm sure it does.
They're called pukies. They're called pukies.
Pukies. Yeah. Well, dude, I'm from the country of West Virginia where our workout was throwing shingles in the summertime. That's like we would go do truck deliveries and we would throw shingles. Exactly. Barrels of hay. Like that was our workouts. And it worked.
I'm sure it did. Yeah. I mean, look at Herschel Walker. Herschel Walker said he's never lifted a weight in his entire life. All he does is calisthenics. And he's like
country boy. He's a country strong boy.
He's country strong, man. Hell yeah.
Yeah. P90X, hell no.
I can't do Billy Banks and that shit. No, that's not for me.
We'll talk about our fitness regimen some other time.
Yeah, so as JB goes, one of us, Rocha's one of us. Yeah, that's it. Anyway, so yeah, all right. Is that it for us today? Are we done? Do we have anything else we need to be talking
I don't know. You want to talk more about stuff? Did you get Madden yet? Did you buy it?
I haven't bought Madden yet because it got a lot of bad reviews, dude.
Yeah, so, it's got bugs. It's definitely.
Do you not like it or do you like it?
I don't. There's my dog going apeshit. I don't. I don't play the stuff that people get mad about. Like I don't play it online like against people, so I don't care.
Okay.
But there is some stuff that's weird. Like when they show replays, like sometimes there'll be like nobody on the field, and I'm like, that's weird. And then sometimes when you throw it and a guy catches it like you catch it, run out of bounds, the clock will still run. I'm like, that's annoying. But it's not like it's a fucking football game. Who cares? Like it's fun. It's fun for what I need it to be.
Okay.
Except for Patrick Mahomes is a cheat code on that game. Like you just every pass he throws is like perfect.
Mahomes.
And I'm like, okay, this is too like real life. I get it. He's good.
Yeah.
Like, geez, they smoke me every time I play him.
What level are you playing? Are you playing on Twitch yet? Are you on Twitch yet?
No, I don't do that. I don't do that yet.
All right.
I'm waiting for the right game to get on Twitch. I'm just I'm not sure yet. I thought about getting a Far Cry 6.
Oh yeah, Far Cry. Yeah.
And playing that, but I don't know. So the Guardians of the Galaxy game's coming out too, but
that's right.
I got stuff to do for the next couple of weeks. Like we're not gonna be here next Saturday because I'm gonna be in Chicago for a wedding. Shout out Chicago.
Shout out.
So I'll be there. So I don't know. We'll see.
All right. Maybe I get someone to sit in for you. We shall see. But certainly Aaron is not going to be here next week. We'll see if I can get Jay off.
Especially not if you're not fat shaming people, you son of a bitch.
It's so insane when people say I fat shame. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Anyway. All right. Well, thank you all so much for joining us here. Again, I apologize to Justin Toner. Justin, I'm so sorry, brother, man. I didn't know it was a 17-minute video. Just in the future, if any of you all, I'll say this now because we got 72 you watching right now, hit a like while we're ending the show. But please, for the love of God, if you go see a live event, you want to shoot yourselves at a live event, feel free to do so. Just edit it down to about 3 minutes so we can play it on the show. I am always happy to blast out any of you all who go to these house shows or go to these pay-per-views because I want to hear your points of views and see your experiences because I don't get to go to these things. And so if you do it, send it in as a 3-minute video so we can put it up on the channel and Aaron and I can watch it and have a reaction to it as we're watching it, and everyone else can as well. So just shout out to Justin. I appreciate you sending the video. Much love to you, my man. Justice for fat people. Absolutely. Zeno, I agree. Justice for fat people. Oh shit.
What happened?
We got some Streamlabs. Sorry.
Wow.
Let me answer these real quick. Let's us answer these. Roberta also says my all-time favorite wrestling theme song is Jake the Snakes, but my current day wrestling theme that I love is Kenny Omega's. Do you guys have a top 3 wrestling theme songs?
You know what's low-key great is Baron Corbin's I Bring the Darkness. That's a good theme, dude. I have that on my playlist.
Go ahead. Yeah.
All-time great. Like, I don't know, something I listen to on the regular. Like, I love the Undisputed Era theme. I love that. I loved Sting's WCW theme.
The Metallica one or the
that one, like the slow one. I like that. And currently I'm really digging Adam Cole's theme. Adam Cole's AEW theme is really good.
Okay.
And that's really about it. As far like, I mean, of course, the iconic ones like Piper and Savage and Ultimate Warrior. Jake, like you said, is a good one. LOD is a good one. Just all those classic Jim Johnson tunes, DX, Triple H, all that good shit. Stone Cold, Glass Breaking.
Yeah,
it's all good.
Top 3 is always Stone Cold, The Rock, and NWO. Those are my top 3 every time. I don't think there's going to be anything that's ever going to change those because all 3 of them, boom, the glass shattering, immediately you're up off your chair. If you smell, immediately you're off your chair. And the NWO, just the connection to all of that, you know, I'll take that. And maybe even slightly mixed in with the NWO is Voodoo Child. I love Voodoo Child. We're watching WandaVision, and I forgot that Voodoo Child's at the end of episode 3 or episode 4. And I was like, oh, all right. Mike donated. He said, we haven't seen someone with Bianca's physique since China. I think that's fair.
I think China was bigger.
Yeah, I think China was bigger. Yeah.
Because she was a bodybuilder. Bianca's not a bodybuilder.
Yeah.
China was.
Yeah.
As far as like athletic build, I think we have, but I just don't think we've seen anyone as impressive, not only in strength, but athleticism as Bianca. Yeah. You could be China. You could bench press whoever the fuck you want, but Bianca can do a moonsault. She can do stuff with her hair that's innovative. Like she innovated where China was just kind of like, in all due respect to China, she's one of the all-time greats, but it's like she's kind of one note.
Well, Bianca is a way better wrestler than Chyna ever was.
For sure, 1,000%.
Yeah, Chyna was a strong presence in the ring, certainly, and she won the IC title, so you're not going to take anything away from Chyna as far as what she's accomplished. But in terms of wrestling ability, she was, and Chyna trained. Look, Chyna trained. Chyna was in those dungeons. Chyna did her thing. So no disrespect to Chyna, but if you're comparing, I think Bianca's just a way better wrestler, and it's also because the technology of how to get better and the studying of how to get better as a wrestler has grown by leaps and bounds in professional wrestling, just like it did in the NFL, NBA, any of those pro leagues. One last one for Christine here. Hey, all, just jumping in on the Becky talk. And as someone who was such a huge fan of her, I have never felt so switched off since she returned. Yes, I agree, Christine. Recently, I've only been keeping up with AEW, but Bianca is one of the few superstars I still want to root for. That's a great point, Christine. I 100% agree with you. I don't know how Aaron feels about this, but also, and we'll see what he's got to say next, but also that could be the danger here too, is that Bianca is the future. And if you're going to get the AEW fans to come back, you're going to have to double down on the future and create some fantastic wrestlers who can kind of take it to the next level. So go ahead, Aaron. What do you think about this?
I mean, Bianca's great. I don't think we have any, I don't think we disagree on that at all. I'm fine with Becky. I think she's been better than I expected. Like when she came back and she just beat Bianca in 2 seconds, it's like, come on, fuck on. Like,
yeah, that was
we're doing this because they've already cooled off Rhea. Like Rhea's doing this weird, like, I don't care about it.
Right.
And so they kind of killed her. And they've killed Tony. They've killed her too. So it's like Bianca's like our last hope of these young crop of people to get over and do this. And I think she's doing it in spite of what WWE wants. It's a very like Daniel Bryan feel almost. Like, okay, we beat this girl. Like Becky beat her in like 12 seconds. And now she's pushed down, but she won't go away. So we have to do something with her because the fans won't stop bugging us about it. So, and that's credit to her because she's good and people want to get behind her because they believe in what she does.
Totally. Yeah. That's a great point, dude. Absolutely. Emilio saying Jade Cargill's physique is way above Bianca's. You're wrong, Emilio.
I think he's right. But
you do? Wow.
Jade I mean, what the tomato, but it's like Jade Cargill is like a power lifter fitness model. It's a different thing. Okay. She looks like someone went like some fucking dude in ancient Greece went to a statue of marble and was just like tick, 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 tick. She looks incredible. Like I don't think I've ever seen anybody in pro wrestling with a body like that, female wise. I don't think I've ever seen it
with a body like that.
She's tall. She's tall. She's chiseled. She's beautiful. I think she just looks great. Like,
all right.
She's dating Brandon Phillips. What's up?
Fair enough. I don't think, but his comment is way above. I don't think she's way above Bianca. She could be above Bianca. I think that's opinion perspective. But not way above.
I think it's just different. Is what I'm trying to say. Like Bianca's like super fit, athletic looking. Jade Cargill looks like she could probably rip your head off and feed it to you. Like it's just it's a different kind of build. Like wouldn't you say that Arnold Schwarzenegger has a better physique than I don't know, like Matthew McConaughey?
Well, probably, sure, of course.
Probably, but wouldn't you say Matthew McConaughey is like athletic as fuck? Like, of course you would. And Arnold Schwarzenegger is this dude that could probably rip your head off and feed it to you.
Yes, agreed.
So, it's just different. But they're both great shape.
Is Zoe Stark at that level?
I think she's super ripped. So she's not at Jade level because she's not as big. She's not as tall as Jade. I don't know if Zoe has military training, but she just reminds me of somebody that would be in the military. Like she has that kind of build. Like I don't know. She just looks like that.
Who's the other one? Tay Conti. Tay Conti's pretty strong as well.
Well, Tay Conti does jujitsu, so it's a different thing.
I don't know.
It's a different thing.
Ivy Nile. I don't know who Ivy Nile is.
She is. Ivy Nile.
Diamond Mine.
Yeah, she's new in the Diamond Mine. She looks like an MMA fighter. I know she did American Ninja Warrior, so of course she's ripped. But it's a little bit different too.
There you go. And once again, we're not comparing an objective. We're not objective. We're doing it respectfully. Yeah. As we would if we were going to talk about male physiques, which we do on the show. So
they're way better looking and better built than I am, so I don't. I mean, come on.
Ditto. All right. Well, there we go. Thank you all so much for watching this episode, this extended episode of Strong Style. 79 of you watching this right now. Thank you very much. Please make sure you hit a like on this because there's only 57 likes. So hit that like button as well. Thanks to everybody who sent in Streamlabs and Super Chats. Really appreciate it. And we love your comments. We love your questions. We love your thoughts and points of views. And I love that the chat is always lively. Aaron and I have a great time with the chat and everybody involved. And thanks to everybody who comes on every weekend and to the new people who find us as well. Aaron, always fun with you, brother, man. Where can they find you and everything you got going on, dude?
Find me next week in Chicago. Or more importantly, Peoria, Illinois, at a wedding of my good friend Cameron and his fiance Renee. So it'll be fun. Nice. And you can find me on Twitter at Only Aaron Turner, where you can catch me talking about my new favorite thing, which is Squid Game. It's amazing. If you haven't watched it, it's fantastic. You like it? No, I haven't watched it. I got to get into it this weekend. Dude! I'm trying to convince the lady to watch it. It's so good. I blew through it in a day. I love Korean films. I love Asian films. There's a part where a character reveals himself in it, and I literally did the Leonardo DiCaprio meme from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I was like, I know who that guy is. And it was fantastic. Great show. Great work. Support the creator because he wrote it, and then he had to stop writing it because he ran out of money. But then he got money, and he finished it, and now it's had this great success. It's going to be the most watched thing on Netflix. So watch Squid Game. It's something that you're like, this is weird, and then it turns into something totally different, and it's so good. Yeah. So watch Squid Game. All right, there you go. Gotta watch it. Who are your Titans playing tomorrow? I don't even know. I don't even know. We lost the fucking Jets last week. I don't even know anymore. Dude, I didn't even want to. I almost texted you, but I was like, no, you're at a funeral, and I don't want to kind of give you shit. But Haskell already got me on this. Did you? Fucking Haskell. God damn it. He's at a funeral, Ed. Jesus. I mean, he didn't text me during the funeral. He just kind of. Oh, okay. Good. Yeah, the Jets win one game. He's got to go lose his money. We'll see how my Washington football team does against Jameis. Oh, we're playing the Jaguars tomorrow. It's a dub. Oh, we're good. We're good. Hopefully. Well, you lost to the Jets. I don't know if it's a dub. We'll see. All right. Well, thank you all again. You can follow me at The Rocha Says on Twitter and on Instagram. Hey, if you go to the Schmodown thing that you watch it, hashtag One Last Ride in the comment section or in the chat, for God's sake, if you're watching. I might cut a video here in a little bit and put it up on the channel or put it up on the YouTube or on Twitter, God damn it, and let people do something there at the match. Do me a favor, subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed to the channel, and hit that like button and hit the bell button when you subscribe to let you know when we're dropping all the content we got going on. Ted Lasso review coming tomorrow, but also 3 p.m. PT live What If series finale or season finale review with me and the Geek Buddies there. So 3 p.m. PT tomorrow. Look for that. I'll be promoting it a little bit later. And later on today at 4 o'clock PT on stereo, me and Lydia Outlaw talking about episodes 5 through 7 of WandaVision. She's watching it for the first time. Most of it for the first time, so we'll talk about that. All right, that's it for me. Y'all take care of yourselves. Be well. I love you madly. Aaron and I appreciate it, and we'll see you next week for another brand new live episode here of Strong Style. Suck it, Arsenal.